Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. İyyâke na'budu ve iyyâke nestaîn. It's a great pleasure to talk to such a high literary meeting. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to the ASSAM. There are three main portions on which I will talk upon. Defense, its principle and procedure. Before we go into the details of defense cooperation, we'll look about what is happening surrounding us in the world on the subject. Let's start with the business, and straight away we'll discuss this thing first. Geostrategic environments, particularly regional tension, internal security, the state of economy, the level of economic and technological development, and predilections and priority of the people at the harm, public goods are further broken down into impure and pure. The former are either non-excludable or non-rival, but not both. A public park may be excludable if people have to pay to enter it. By the same token, a bridge may become unavailable for motorists down the line if it is choked with traffic. However, national defense or security, like clean air, is a pure public good. This is because once a country's defense capability is developed, it benefits everyone, and that a typical individual is not made worse off if this benefit is extended to others. If a product or service is a pure public good, the state can become oblivious of its responsibility to supply it only at the expense of public interest. Next slide. Please, next slide.
Next page, please. Üçüncü sayfayı lütfen.
Next. This is the general data of top 10 countries which are spending on defense.
Yeah, you can. Yes, no problem.
Even if national defense is a public good, skeptics may still inquire why defense spending should be undertaken at all. Why should a country maintain a large military establishment and finance it out of publicity? The answer is that defense spending is the cost of deterrence. War is red in tooth and claw, as it brings in its train a heavy and at times colossal loss of life. It's also enormously expensive and is often followed by a prolonged recession, hyperinflation, or both. Not only that, it has tremendous opportunity cost as human and material resources consumed in a conflict could have been used elsewhere. Therefore, war must be given a wide berth at all costs. But the mere fact that war is the kiss of death does not extirpate it. From time to time, countries are caught up in conflict in a world characterized by anarchy in the absence of international government, but a world which lacks universally binding agreement to put an end to war, and where, notwithstanding all pretensions of international law and niceties of diplomatic norms, power is the ultimate arbiter in the event of cross-border show of strength. Only effective deterrence and underwrite that a country having a chip on its shoulder would think twice before setting out on a costly adventure. In a word, power underpins interstate relation, and the only effective antidote to power is power. In 2018, the last year for which full year data are available, the worldwide defense spending amounted to 1.82 trillion, which made up 2.25% of the global economic output of 80.93 trillions. Deterrence credibility comprises two components: One, to attain the minimum level for military capability to knock some sense into a would-be aggressor and hold it back from flying at another country will be considered a fair game by its adversaries. Two, to send out the message to the potential invader that war can be costly for it as well. Deterrence credibility may be pricey, but for sure it's a far less than going to a war.
You can use this.
Next,
You can use it. It's your hand.
the
Your hand.
example you can see, it's almost 500 time difference, but the potential available here with a smaller adversary to him. I need it. This brings us to a fundamental question in defense economics. How much defense is enough defense? It's difficult to answer the question in precise terms because a nation's defense capability cannot be determined unilaterally. Instead, it's contingent upon the capability of another nation, the abhorred aggressor from which the former security is at risk. The gap in military capabilities of two rival countries is called threat, which can be undergirded by such factors as an advanced weapon system or a greater stock of arms. As a rule, the higher of threat, the greater is the probability of an attack, and thus more pronounced is the need for effective deterrence or defense capability. It's also important to take into account the regional security situation and external and internal conflicts a country plays in a testing geostrategic environment or facing grave internal threat to national security needs to proportionately higher defense budget. This is the demand side of defense economics. On supply side, the size of defense expenditure is constrained by resource availability reflected by the size of economy or per capita GDP. Coming over to the procedure. It can be that Ministry of Defense experts have to evaluate terms and condition of engagement plan, definitely have to involve political, commerce, economic, interior diplomats, professional experts. In 21st century is the epoch of global communication, dominated by electronic colonialism, that is to clasp the minds, ears, and eyes. Mercantile colonialism was the ballad of 19th and mid-20th century, the colonialism of soil and toil. China's influence is based on collaborative economic expansion. CPEC has emboldened Pakistan with balancing substitute of geoeconomics from geopolitics. After witnessing mammoth turmoil of Afghan-Russia war and 9/11 war on terror, Pakistan has taken advantage of China economic growth on the global canvas. It has brought a revolution in the economy of Pakistan. China investment in the form of transfer of technology and coherent infrastructure and human development brought fruitful result in the overall growth of Pakistan economy. Dynamic participation, exuberant contribution of private sector would be ample testimony of success of special economic zone where mere industrial infrastructure development would be mirage without laborious investment.
Malik, you have 7 minutes.
Pakistan-Turkey has recently formed an economic framework to prepare a model of cooperation on CPEC line. It will include all type of industrial collaboration, including defense joint production. So this is the second model other than European Union which own union can adopt. European Union is the one model which can be studied to follow if found feasible to union. Defense shares may be distributed among countries who are desirous to participate in it. Institution may be established at Ankara along Presidency Investment Office and willing of union countries expert or hired experts from union countries may work permanently in it three ministerial experts are very important of this: Commerce, Economics, Defense, and Interior. These three ministries have to be in sync for smooth functions of this project. Had this under discussion subject practically established before, there would have been less chances of Arab Springs coming to Middle East off and on. Apropos, even fifth columnist moles would have been easily identified, eliminated in time before shaping into mass mobs. Have to identify participant countries which are economically stronger, like Malaysia, Brunei, Qatar, Indonesia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, KSA, Kuwait, ECO countries, etc. Turkey and Malaysian police training in all fields is very good. Pakistan is already getting benefits out of these, like Dolphin Force project is an exemplary model of it. However, there is a dire need of R&D, research and development on the subject. Today, world is facing fifth and sixth generation warfare, hybrid warfare, and above all, anthropological warfare. Major powers are testing their muscles not only with physical weapons, but also molding the world with the sharp power and soft power. The R&D must monitor the environmental situation in the world 24/7 and recommend types of weapons to produce in future. Each progressive company in the world have to keep its R&D very strong with the state-of-art professional to monitor current environmental situation. For example, Microsoft spent millions of dollars on its R&D institute and in reward on billions of dollars. But it also depends how policymakers of concerned R&D deliver their policies. Now, how we can form up this procedure into execution. So the principles are C++, meaning by cooperation, like we are sitting now, that we are thinking about a thing to develop. Then with the collaboration working together to create something. And after that, the third one is the coherence. Then shaping that thing into an organization. And that organization then switch into the commerce, and we all can be benefited out of that. It can be based on the principle of commerce, economic terminology, win-win deal. All those countries get the share according to their initial investment on the defense cooperation project. Mutual direct investment may also be established along Ankara Presidency Investment Office. Those countries which are smaller in size with less manpower and economically strong, well established, may get their security and defense from union countries which are strong in the field, basing on their mutual interest. Thank you very much for your nice patience to listen.